Hey guys, since my fiance came in after I put up the update review with We Live Where He Works, he suggested I do a true, proper mini review of the movie. Now, I'm still hoping to eventually get that movie, the review out. I was originally planning on doing it as a last episode, but as soon as I figure out how to get the film clips to actually behave, I'm going to be putting that out. But if you really wanted to know what I thought in the meantime, let's get started. So, the movie starts off, and you can see the budget restraints already. I get this is an indie film company, but the opening takes way too long. There's stock creepy images that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual movie. It's kind of like, ooh, here's a stock creepy image of a Victorian kid. Be creeped out. It's like, there's so many things they could have done with this, and they didn't. And then this time could have been better spent focused on characters, focused on the fears, or explaining some of the things they don't go into, and I'll be going into that. So the movie starts off true and proper with one of the girls that her mom goes and leaves her alone for the weekend. She says she can invite her girlfriends over, but not the boys. And I don't get that. And I don't get parents who are so obsessed with their kids' sexual orientation and everything that they feel the need to constantly be supervised to them and every. I just don't get it. And you're gonna notice that I don't actually give names here, and as well as much as they do develop in what little time they have, they don't actually resonate any form of names with me. I don't know why. I'm just terrible with names. This isn't like the Escape from Tomorrow review where I just called him asshole because that's what he is. He's just a gigantic asshole throughout the entire movie. But surprisingly, though, this movie partakes in very little cliches other than the freaking whispering everywhere. Everybody's freaking whispering everything, and I can't stand that. It just makes it harder for me to hear things. It's like, imagine if I were doing this, whispering, talking during the entire review. It's like, why would I do that? Why would I not talk in a normal volume? Excuse me? But as I said, there's actually very little cliches. The Garth girl isn't the one who suggests doing this. She isn't a master of the occult, knows everything. The only two things that identify her as the goth girl is the fact that she dresses like a goth and she has a fear of ghosts. Which fear actually is a big part of this. It's what takes up the majority of the film. As I said, the goth girl has a fear of ghosts. The one whose house it's their mother's, she has a fear of heights. The other girl, I personally find her far more interesting. Maybe because it is her fear has a lot more she can do with. But her fear is that she has a aunt who had to be treated in a mental ward for paranoid schizophrenia, and near as we can tell, haven't gone out. And she's worried that she's going to go through the exact same thing. And the one jock we don't see through the majority of the film has claustrophobia, and the one who suggests the game, they don't mention it, but I do have a theory on it. And if you want to enter the spoiler-free, well, first of all, what are you doing watching this review? But if you don't want it to be spoiled on this theory that I have, you want to see it after you watch the movie, just skip ahead. Probably about a minute would work. Um, but during this time in a person's life, where they're still kind of a kid, still learning how the world works and how to be an adult, there's so much responsibility being piled on them. They gotta think about driving and work, and college, and all these other things. I think he had a fear that he was going to mess up so badly, somebody else is going to pay the price. And that's a fear we don't really acknowledge very often. The hey, oh, I can't let my team down, and I have to work extra and make sure I don't let down the team, or I can't disappoint my parents, and so, or all these other things. And it's actually quite clever, if I'm right. But that's personally my theory. As much as this doesn't dive into stupid stereotypical things, the I am surprised they did this. Is especially given how hammered down it is in the educational system, but part of the ritual to start it is to write your name on a piece of paper, prick yourself and put in a drop of blood on the piece of paper so that way the Midnight Man can find you. Now, they use what I presume is a brooch for this. They prick the finger, press it onto the piece of paper, and then hand it to the next person. They don't wipe it off or anything. They don't rinse it. They don't put it over the flame to sterilize it. It just baffles me. It's like, you guys do know that HIV is a thing, right? That we have a reason we don't do that anymore. There's so many diseases transmitted through blood, and they're just passing it off like, It just bothers me because it's so stupid. So they play the game, and it starts off pretty slow, like these things are wont to do. And then slowly it starts getting to the creepiness. The candles start going out. They start seeing things outside and start freaking out. And it actually kind of makes me wonder if this is what happens with a Ouija board at 99.99999999999% of the time. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's nothing happens. You're pushing it. Your subconscious movement of your subtle hands is moving it, but it's not actually something unusual. Your friend's moving it to freak you out. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's the 0.00000000001 and percent of the time, because you sent out an invitation, something answers back. Can't help but wonder if this is how people react when something does eventually answer back. But as I said, and everything starts freaking out, and about 2 hours into the game, they all just sit into this big circle of salt and fall asleep. And I actually looked up the rules of how to play this game in preparation for the review, and I actually noticed it strongly recommends against falling asleep for it. But they fall asleep till, I believe it's 3:34 a.m., which signifies the end of the game. The lights that previously were very unresponsive, the only things that worked were the candles and this one alarm clock to let them know what time it is, and nothing else start to come on. And so they think, oh, thank goodness that's all over, let's all go to bed. And of course that's not the end of it. They notice that all their fears start cropping up. They're getting more of this uneasy feeling. The goth girl's being visited by things when she's alone and knows she's alone. And as it gets built up and built up and built up, and that piano music plays through half this film. Seriously, there's this like couple of notes they keep repeating half the film. It's not bad, and usually they're talking over it, so it's not too distracting, but sometimes it's a bit much. But eventually they decide, well, since the problem was we broke the rules the first time we played it, maybe if we play it again and follow all the rules, it'll all go away. The problem is, they break the rules again. They've broken the rules twice now, and all hell starts breaking loose. So, as you can kind of guess with this kind of movie, they're all picked off one by one, and everybody's freaking out. And then the kind of predictable twist ending that you still kind of enjoy now they're all dead and trapped forever in a time loop of their last days on Earth. And yeah, it's predictable. It's been done so many times. It's kind of like that the girlfriend was dead all along. That even Pee Wee Herman parodied at one point. And when done right, it's a genuinely spooky moment. And honestly, I think this is one of the times where it's kind of done right. And that's kind of the major problem with this film, is that it has so many good ideas and so much potential, but it doesn't fail at it either. Here, it's kind of good, but not great. And it's something that you would probably rent for the Halloween season, or if you see it in a bin for like $5 or something, and then you'd purchase it. But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoy watching it every once in a while. And honestly, that's it. And as I said, I'm going to be working on The Conjuring pretty focused on that for the next few days, and then we're going to try and get Annabelle out and get everything back on track. And we are planning something special for November. If anybody wants to do the math on that, you might be able to figure out why, but I'm not going to spoil anything more. Thanks for listening.